Robotic affirming really does work, but it seems like not a lot of people actually want to explain why it's powerful. Today, let's go deeper into why that is the truth, why psychologically and energetically robotic affirming is super powerful for your manifestation. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to any new viewers. My name is Alexa. I'm a manifestation coach, content creator. Today, we're going more general with manifestation, talking about practices, theories, principles, and then how to translate that into real practices. So I like to keep things simple with my content, and specifically today is all about robotic affirmations. Kind of going back to the basics of being able to take your affirmations, repetitive, conscious practices for manifestation, and apply them to the highest levels of success, basically. So I'm going to talk all about robotic affirmations today. Before we jump into the content, on screen will be highlights from my coaching, special offers I have, all the extra content you can get, every bonus content, and the exclusive content that's actually only available to members. So if you can't afford or don't want to yet purchase coaching, that's completely fine. All my other content is free online, but you can get extra support and also the bonus materials that you don't normally get by watching my free content like this. So members get early access to all the videos, including the one you're just watching now, and they get that one day early. So click the join button below if you want to be part of the membership and to see that if you want to. And now let's start the video. Great start there, Alexa. It doesn't matter how emotional you sound or how emotionally attached you are to your manifestation, how inspired you might feel or be coming across in your focus. Yes, it can create a good quantum frequency connection and a good connection to the end result, but robotic affirming in your subconscious mind doesn't care, nor does it matter for your manifestation, how emotionally attached you are, how emotional you sound, how inspired you come across. If you're not applying repetition and consistency, then the power is literally divided. It's 50% less powerful. The power is divided. That was a weird way to say it. But it's less powerful for your affirmations, for your conscious focus, for your manifestation, if you're not applying repetition and consistency. So you can be really emotionally attached, you can be super emotional in the way you say your affirmations, but if you're not also tying in repetition and consistency, that is basically null and void. To analogize it, it's a little bit like learning to drive. At first, it might be a bit scary, awkward, feel unnatural, but then through repetition, this becomes automated. It becomes a lot more natural and easy, and you're essentially normalizing it to your mind, which is a point that I'm going to touch on later in the video about how important this is and how to normalize it to your mind. But that's essentially what it does. It's like learning to drive through practice, through repetition. These things that you don't know how to do or feel overwhelming, probably at a younger age or whatever the case may be, it feels at the beginning unnatural, a bit awkward. You don't really know what to do. You're not connecting to it. But then through repetition, through practice, it becomes really normal. You get a lot more confident. It's the same with repetition. That's how your subconscious will learn. As I just said, the subconscious doesn't hold on to or care how badly you want your manifestation. It doesn't understand logic. It doesn't, in a way, ironically, have its own mind. It doesn't have the ability to choose or say, I'm going to take this on, or that's what's best for you. It doesn't care. That's why negative beliefs come about. Otherwise, our mind and body would protect us and we'd only ever have positive beliefs and experiences. But it just holds on to where repetition goes. So you need to build up this consistency because the emotional focus doesn't matter. And that is partly why, a good example for why robotic affirming is genuinely powerful. What it's also doing through that practice of repetition, therefore robotic affirming, of looping over and over and over, is it's building up new neural pathways. It's adjusting and shifting the neural pathways in your body to start to normalize and accept your manifestation, your affirmation. So the way your body reacts, the way your mind reacts when you think about your SP, your manifestation, any assumptions or beliefs that tie to that, the circumstances, you're not going to panic or spiral as much because it's literally shifting and accepting that new version. So tying it into another kind of psychological element, the RAS, which is your reticular activating system. You guys are very well versed in this now if you've watched my videos for the past few weeks as I've been talking about this, but it essentially is going to focus on and recognize things that are connected to your manifestation, usually birds before land, and just anything that's an external reflection. So it's going to literally, it's like putting a filter on, like a Snapchat filter or Instagram filter. It's going to filter your reality to show you more of where your focus goes, which is a positive thing. It helps you align your mindset and think more from the end result. Remind yourself of your manifestation in a positive way. You can reaffirm in that moment. And it's literally showing you, hey, look at the shift that can happen in your 3D reality when you put your focus in. So it's literally going to match wherever your repetition and focus goes, which again, through the practice of robotic affirmations, even if it's super monotone, like just genuinely robotically looping those affirmations, one after another, after another, after another, it's actually building up the looping, the repetition, the quantity that you're kind of, the quantity of your affirmations, let's say, and then reflecting that in your reality because it's building it up more rather than you trying to really put huge amounts of effort and different techniques into looping your affirmations or focusing on the end result and spending 30 minutes trying to visualize. With robotic affirming, it's a really much simpler way to do it, and it's building up that quantity and repetition to the point where it can reflect into your reality more easily. I'm going to read out a Neville Goddard quote as well that ties into this to really show you guys and highlight the things that I think people don't often talk about when it comes to this. So Neville said, "A man reaps the conditions of his imagination." So meaning what's going to be brought about into your reality, what you will experience and see reflected is your imagination, where your visuals go. You don't have to literally visualize for that to happen, by the way. The subconscious actually takes in information through visual form, but meaning what goes on in your mind, mentally where your focus goes through affirmations. So he didn't say that you have to feel the emotion perfectly, which in my opinion is a kind of misconstrued understanding of Neville Goddard's actual teachings. He very much focuses on the mental focus. He doesn't say you have to feel the emotion in order to manifest. The two are slightly mutually exclusive. It's not that one leads to the other necessarily. So what he's saying is you have to persist. The conditions of your imagination, meaning sustained, not just one feeling or one visual, the sustained conditions of your imagination, of what's going on in your mind, what you imagine, what you think about, what you tell yourself, oh, my reality is this. And then you speak to yourself and have that inner conversation about what your reality literally is now, meaning you repeat the new story as if it's already here, continuing that, applying consistency, you persist in that. That is essentially tying into Neville's quote there. You will reap, meaning you will achieve and receive wherever your focus is going. Robotic affirming is one of the easiest, best ways, most powerful ways really, to bypass your emotions, because you're literally one after another. The best way, in my opinion, to do it is to say affirmation, 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 affirmation. Couldn't really think of an example there, didn't want to give a really generic one. But yeah, literally one after another, robotically, like your AI or a robot program to just say things over and over. You don't have to have the emotion tied to it, and it bypasses those emotions. It bypasses the mental resistance. You don't have time or energy or focus to give to that negative old story. So it's literally persistence. An example of persistence, it's persistence in action in your reality, because throughout your day, you're applying that. You're just robotically saying it out loud or in your mind. It doesn't take a lot of effort. And that's literally how you're going to teach your subconscious mind, this is my reality. This is the new reality I have now. The old one is long gone. This is the only one I focus on, I give my attention to. And basically, this is the only version of reality I'm allowing, period. Another great element of Neville's teachings that tie into this is that he referred to repetition as essentially fixing your attention. So once your attention is fixed, so to speak, placed, placing your attention and your focus in this case. I'm just trying to find the synonyms that explain it a little bit more fully. You're placing your focus and mental focus and repetition on your desired reality, on your desired end result. The feelings will actually follow naturally. The two placed together are powerful. Emotions can help your manifestation in terms of the quantum frequency you're connecting to, because you're literally internally embodying that end result. But without the mental focus, without the repetition, the emotions are kind of null and void, because you can feel happy, you can feel excited and grateful. That doesn't mean that you're suddenly manifesting your desired outcome for a specific manifestation. So the two do need to be combined, but essentially the feelings will come up naturally. Once your attention is fixed onto your desired outcome, that is building up that momentum more and more. So as I said, going back into the kind of quantum realm, repetition is literally strengthening that quantum frequency. You're building up in your mindset, in your subconscious, which then does filter up into your conscious mind. Obviously, as we know, the root of your beliefs are in the subconscious, which has to affect the way you think consciously about your SP, about your success, school, your appearance, whatever it is, every element of your life, work, whatever life stage you're at. So it is literally going to impact everything, and repetition is literally stabilizing, improving, strengthening that quantum frequency to the reality where what you want already exists. I guess a parallel reality, so to speak, and for you to experience that in your 3D circumstances, for everything to shift to basically be that reality that you're imagining, to bring that into your experience. Repetition is a super powerful way to do that. And it's not that you're trying to make yourself believe in it or convince anything outside of you to try and shift. You're convincing your own subconscious beliefs, and therefore robotic affirming, it's such an easy way to do that. And the more consistency you can apply, the more that stabilizes, the more, as I said, you keep that quantum frequency, meaning your connection to that reality, your mental connection to that reality, stronger and stable. So the more it stabilizes and balances out, I guess you could say, the more it's going to filter into and become your external reality. It's not that you just think it once and it happens. You have to maintain it, apply consistency, and that is the reality you're going to experience. And you will literally, of course, start to see those signs coming in, the synchronicities. Those are the kind of glitches in the matrix, as some people like to say, 3D glitches and shifts coming in that you will start to pick up on more and more. That is the proof that it is aligning, it is coming in, but you need to maintain that focus, not perfectly, not at 24/7, obviously, but you need to maintain it. Your thoughts around that topic should align with that. So essentially, it's supposed to feel normal. It doesn't need to feel like this amazing emotional connection. You don't have to have that in order to manifest. It's not on the tick list, so to speak. And people expect, to fully connect to it, to feel amazing, or that's what you have to get to. You just have to sustain it. You just have to sustain that consistency. Keep thinking over and over and over of it as if it's already yours, because you want to normalize it to your mind. So that's the point I was touching on earlier. You want to normalize it and make this feel like a really balanced, realistic thing. You don't panic or spiral or get really anxious or nervous about it. It just feels more normal, more realistic. And that is the sign that in your mind internally, it's all stabilizing. And that's what brings it in, because you don't waver as much, you connect to it a lot more. You've gotten to the point where your subconscious mind and conscious logical mind as well are starting to accept it. So this has been quite a long rambly video again, so I'm going to leave it here. I hope that explained more for you guys and showed you the power of robotic affirming, because I know there can be a lot of a mishmash of information out there about manifesting. If you enjoyed and found this useful, please do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. Do click the hype button if it's available for you as a YouTube feature, if you want to support the video. And yeah, everything else is linked below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.